tables kind of coming here.
Oh, good.
And,
this is nice.
Yeah,
this is good.
Like I said, it's just,
connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We get a lot of people come through the show and they want to know that there are people behind the
Absolutely.
work.
Oh, it's very, I think to meet the artist is a very good, and to know what they're thinking, it's good to know.
So like a year ago, why did you decide to join the studio?
Well, I had recently moved to Deal about 2.5 years ago, and I'd always done open studios. I'm a textile designer, that's what I trained as, so, but do other things. So it just seemed like a good thing to join the group and take part in whatever was available.
Yeah.
And there are people doing all sorts of things, textiles like me, or painting and printmaking and everything. So for me it was a good thing to join.
It's so important to have those kind of groups.
Yeah, and meeting other people and seeing what other people do is inspiring. It sparks off ideas that...
Do you find that helpful?
I do, actually. I do, yeah. I absolutely. I mean, in my normal life, I'm always I'm a visual person, I'm always looking at art, exhibitions, designers, all sorts of anything visual, so it's all good.
Your life's been in textiles?
I trained as a textile designer here in England, in Hornsey College of Art, a very long time ago. Printed textiles.
Oh, wow.
And I worked as a textile designer for many years in New York, in London, and Como, and then I decided to go freelance and hand print fabric for individual people, which is great because you're doing something for someone's home that goes with their interior. You're using colors that go with what they want, and that's really fun to do. So, but
I suppose it's quite similar to creating a piece of work.
Of course, and it overlaps because ideas I put ideas down in sketchbooks and things, and then an idea that you print on fabric is easily transferred to paper, because I'm using color and shape and overlapping colors and texture. And for me, it's worked that way. I've found that I can often do things on paper that could be on fabric, so, or expand them a bit, and develop them more. So it's...
So for you, when you're going to about to start a new piece, what's your process then?
I suppose, unless I've been given a commission or a theme of some sort, I have lots and lots of sketchbooks. I start by drawing something. Very often it's abstract shapes that work together and color that works together. I really start with pattern and color because that's what I love. And develop things. I love putting texture in, and screen printing, you can do that because you can overprint. You can screen print anything on the planet now, which is fantastic. Once you've taken an image, like you do with your, it's the same thing, a photographic image of anything. And that just opens the door, to everything. So that's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That image that you want, you can...
Yes, well, you can apply it to anything, and also you can print almost any image you want. You can print the grain of the wood if you want to do that. You can print anything. So I love drawing and doing I've done a lot of monoprints, which are when you just print, one image, and then you draw on your screen, on your silk screen, and push the color through, and you never know what's going to come up. I'm excited to see everybody's work too, because I haven't seen everybody's. I've done open studio, but I didn't get to everybody's studio. So this is going to be really nice to see the range of work and the photography, everything. I think so.
Oh, it'll be fantastic.
It's going to be good.
So what are you putting into this show?
Well, I've done a complete cross-section of stuff. When the theme came out, sea and sky, of course, there's a lot of blue in one picture. It's a lot of blue. But I've done I went down to the beach, of course, and did a sky with a little bit of that textured pebble, which was great. I had fun with that. And the pier, tiny little bit of a pier. But then I've also did something where I've used a bit of a monoprint and some shells and some seaweed, because you find those by the beach. And then I've done an abstract thing, which is just blue shapes that look like fishes, and it's me going, free form with my shapes and color, and had a good time with it. Two of them are screen prints, and some I've hand drawn because you can incorporate whatever way of working you want. So I find I use a mixture of things, and chalk and wax and a little pen and ink and whatever works. You use it.
You don't have a set medium then. You kind of just.
Most things, the screen prints are all acrylic, clearly, because they. There's a special acrylic that you use for screen printing, so that's all acrylic. And even when I'm painting, I use the acrylic system as well. But I've used watercolor in the past, and obviously on fabric you use something that's appropriate to fabric dye. So, but yeah, mostly acrylic. I've never tried painting in oils, so I admire people who can do that. I must say, it's a different way of working. I've worked in watercolor a lot and using gouache as kind of body color, which works too, because you can go over things and
Do you find abstract styles of working more interesting than figurative?
Yeah, I just lean that way. Those are the kind of painters I like too. I love the painters of early 20th century British artists, and I love all those people. I'm married into a family of painters in Britain, so I was surrounded by. But it was good. It was inspiring. It was nice. So, and both my mother and father-in-law worked in watercolor and oil, actually. But
so it's good to kind of immerse yourself in all the different styles and mediums and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and use what works. Sometimes chalk works because you're doing a particular look of something or feel of texture of something, and it works better than watercolor. So, just what works, I find.
When you're working on a textile piece, how do you know when you've resolved it?
That's a very difficult question. I sometimes I work. Even now, whatever I'm doing, I work on something for a length of time, from a drawing, whatever. I work on it. I sometimes do a practice image of it until I've resolved something I want to change, or I go away and I look at it the next day, and that really does work. I'm sure with a lot of people that you're refreshed, you're coming at it newly, and you see what it needs or doesn't need, and that's a really good way for me, anyhow, of figuring out, where is this at? Am I done with this? And looking at it through fresh eyes. Maybe, going away, having lunch, coming back, looking at it again, or anything. It's difficult when you're working alone, because which artists do, and you kind of. I'd absolutely. I always have worked, by myself doing that creative thing. But it's great to have a friend or anybody say, I like that, because you're sort of on the right track. You think, okay, that's affirming. It's exactly it's work. So so.
That's also cool. Does it bother you what people think? Are you doing it for yourself?
Yes, that's a good. I think probably. That's a good thought. I was thinking about that. I think probably I do a lot of it for myself, unless it's a commission, and I know it's for someone else, and I'm pleasing that person, that client. But no, very often I'm expressing something that I kind of want to do, and it's liberating. It's great, and sometimes it's cutout paper, whatever. So, I probably am doing a lot of it for myself. It's great to have a goal, like having this exhibition or anything else to work towards, and have a theme is a good thing. But and textiles, it's slightly different, because in the days when I was doing more designing of textiles and working for textile houses, you're going with what's in fashion a lot, You're going with what's the trend, or what's the color, or what's the style this year, or next spring, or whatever. So it's slightly different.
You're being influenced rather than.
Yes, and you're trying to come up with a new angle, but you're trying to keep within a sort of a trend, and that's everything to do with fashion and design, isn't it? That's design is what's popular at the moment, and what is popular you're trying to. So there was a time when I did a lot of what I would say 50s inspired, about 10 years ago, designs like Lucian Day or people that you may have heard of, whose work I love. Robin Day was her husband, the furniture designer. And I've sort of got away. I've done that. It's kind of come out of me. And now I'm moving, but I'm sure.
What is the trend at the moment?
I think it's everything. I've noticed that small pattern is coming back in terms of textiles. It's so weird. Things that you sort of forgot about and thought nobody's going to want that, are sort of reappearing, and a lot of color is appearing. Don't know. I mean, I do my own thing now more. I don't do so much. I have fabrics that are that I've produced that are people can buy and order online and stuff, and they've kind of come round again. It's funny. Some are floral, some are little like I would call little maybe deco style things. And things come round again, which is very interesting, which I'm sure you notice,
Of course.
in every way, in every form, people are inspired by something from the past, and it comes through again. So, which is why I probably like those mid-century artists, because I love how they work, the sort of Edward Bawden, Ravilius, Sutherland, all that group, really, they're very good. Bizarrely, they were the same period as my father-in-law, who was at college with Eric Ravilius at the Royal College early in the 20s, a long time ago. So when you had to do mural painting, that was a course you had to do. I've done a bit of that too, but it's tough, I've done some of that, but it's not easy. But yeah, whatever. I think also when you're freelance, you kind of do anything you can, really. If somebody asks you, you'd say, I'll do it, I'll try it, So I did do a lot of stuff when my children were little, Interesting. Yes. Oh, sure, yes. I'm sure I've gone off piste, as they say, but...
You're good at it.
Well, oh God.